Captain Lisa Kane stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance and watched the stars through the large front window. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of the engines. Her crew worked at their stations without making much noise. Everything seemed normal until the communication system made a loud beeping sound. Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez turned around from her station. Her face looked worried. "Captain, we have an urgent message from Earth Command. Priority 1. Lisa walked over to the main screen. "Put it through." The screen flickered and then showed Admiral Kate Morrison sitting at her desk on Earth. Kate looked tired and her gray hair was messy. She had been working for many hours without rest. "Lisa, we have a situation," Kate said. Her voice was serious. 3 hours ago, we made contact with an alien empire. They call themselves the Zephyrian Galactic Empire. They say they rule most of the galaxy. Lisa felt her heart beat faster. Humanity had been alone in space for so long. Now they finally found other intelligent life. But Kate's face showed this was not good news. "What do they want?" Lisa asked. Kate picked up a data pad and read from it. "They demand that Earth and all human colonies surrender immediately. They want us to become their servants. If we refuse, they will attack us." Science Officer Kira Blackwood looked up from her station. She was young and smart, but now she looked scared. "Captain, how powerful are they?" Kate heard the question through the communication link. "According to their message, they control over 1,000 worlds. They have been the rulers of the galaxy for 3,000 years. Their military is huge." Communications specialist Amy Foster checked her equipment. "Admiral, what is our response?" Kate's face became hard and determined. "Earth's government has decided. We will not become slaves to anyone. We fought too hard to become free. We will not give up our freedom now." Lisa nodded. She understood. Humanity had survived many terrible things. Wars, diseases, natural disasters. They had always found a way to continue. "The aliens are sending a representative to speak with us," Kate continued. "They want to meet with you since the Defiance is our furthest ship from Earth. You will speak for all of humanity." The screen went dark. Lisa turned to her crew. They all looked at her with trust in their eyes. Maya had been with her for 5 years. Kira was brilliant but still learning. Amy was good at her job and never gave up. "What are your orders, Captain?" Maya asked. Before Lisa could answer, the ship's sensors made warning sounds. Amy checked her station quickly. "Captain, there is a large ship approaching. It is not human technology. The ship is 10 times bigger than ours." Lisa felt cold fear in her stomach, but she did not show it. "Red alert! All hands to battle stations, but do not charge weapons unless I give the order." The alien ship appeared on the main screen. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The ship looked like it was made of crystal and metal. It glowed with soft blue light. Strange symbols covered its surface. "Incoming transmission," Amy reported. "Put it on screen." The main screen changed to show the inside of the alien ship. 2 beings stood there. One looked almost human but was taller and thinner. Her skin was light blue and seemed to glow. Her hair was silver and moved like it was underwater. Her eyes were completely blue with no white parts. She wore robes that looked like they were made of starlight. The other being was different. She had red scaly skin and 4 arms. She was strong and looked like a warrior. Her eyes were yellow and sharp. She wore armor that looked like it could stop any weapon. The blue-skinned one spoke first. Her voice was musical but cold. "I am Ambassador Lyra Lai Moonwhisper of the Valthara race. This is General Zarathis of the Kyrian military. We represent the Zephyrian Galactic Empire." Lisa stepped forward. "I am Captain Lisa Kane of the United Earthship Defiance. I speak for humanity." Lyra Lai smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "How amusing! Your species is so young. You have barely left your homeworld, yet you think you can refuse the Empire." General Zarathis moved one of her 4 arms. "Your technology is primitive. Your ships are weak. Your weapons cannot hurt us. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Lisa felt anger growing inside her, but she kept her voice calm. "We have received your demands. Earth's answer is no. We will not surrender. We offer friendship and trade instead." Lirelai laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. Friendship? You are insects compared to us. We have destroyed species far stronger than yours. What makes you think you can survive? Lisa looked directly into Lyrale's glowing blue eyes. Because we are still here. We have survived ice ages that lasted thousands of years. We have survived wars that killed millions of our people. We have survived diseases that almost destroyed our entire species. We have survived when other species would have given up. Zarathis growled low in her throat. Survival means nothing against the Empire's power. Lisa smiled, but it was not a happy smile. We tried to warn you. We offered peace. If you choose war instead, you will learn something about humanity. We do not fight fair. We do not fight with honor. We fight to win. And when our families are threatened, we never give up. Maya stepped up beside her captain. We have seen what happens when someone tries to destroy us. They usually regret it, Kira added. Our history is full of enemies who thought we were weak. Most of them do not exist anymore. Amy checked her systems again. And we learn fast, very fast. Lyrale's smile disappeared. You dare threaten the Empire? Lisa shook her head. No threats, just facts. You can choose peace or you can choose war, but choose carefully. Because once the fighting starts, we will not stop until either you are gone or we are. That is what humans do. The alien transmission ended suddenly. The screen showed only empty space and stars. Maya looked at Lisa. Captain, do you think they will attack? Lisa watched the alien ship turn and fly away. Yes, they will attack. They think we are weak because we are young. They will learn better. Kira worked at her station. Captain, I am detecting more ships coming. Many more ships. Lisa sat in her captain's chair. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the war is about to begin. Tell them to prepare for the worst fight humanity has ever faced. The Defiants turned toward Earth. Behind them, the alien ships gathered like storm clouds. Lisa knew that everything was about to change. Humanity had been alone in the galaxy for so long. Now they had found other intelligent life. Unfortunately, that life wanted to destroy them. Empress Seraphina Starweaver sat on her crystal throne in the Great Hall of Ethros. The throne room was enormous and beautiful. The walls were made of living crystal that changed colors like a rainbow. Thousands of lights floated in the air, without any support. The floor was so smooth it looked like a mirror. Seraphina had ruled the Zephyrian Empire for over 2,000 years. She was ancient even for her people. Her skin glowed with soft white light. Her eyes held the wisdom and coldness of centuries. Her hair moved like liquid silver. When she spoke, everyone listened. Around her stood the High Council. These were the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Each one represented a different species that served the Empire. They had come together to discuss the human problem. Tell me about these creatures called humans, Seraphina said. Her voice echoed through the hall. Minister Veltara Nightblade stepped forward. She was tall and thin like all Velthara. Her skin was darker than most of her people. She had been the Empire's chief strategist for 800 years. She had planned the conquest of dozens of worlds. Your Majesty, they are a very young species. They have only been in space for a few hundred years. They have barely colonized their own solar system. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. Seraphina nodded slowly. What about their military strength? Veltara looked at her datapad. They have perhaps 1,000 ships in total. Most of them are not even military vessels. They are mining ships and cargo transports. Their weapons are basic projectile systems and simple energy beams. They have no psychic abilities. They have no natural armor or enhanced strength. General Zarathis moved closer to the throne. Her 4 arms crossed over her armored chest. Your Majesty, I have studied their military history. They are more dangerous than they appear. Seraphina's eyes turned to the Kyrian general. Explain. Zarathis pulled up a holographic display. It showed images from Earth's past. They have been fighting wars for their entire history. They have weapons that can destroy their whole planet. They have survived conflicts that killed hundreds of millions of their own people. They are adaptable and ruthless. Veltara made a dismissive sound. General, you worry too much. Yes, they fight among themselves. All primitive species do that. But they have never faced anything like the Empire. We have 1,000,000 ships. We have weapons that can destroy planets. We have psychic warriors who can kill with their thoughts. Ambassador Lyra Lai Moon Whisper stepped into the circle. She had just returned from meeting the humans. Your Majesty, I spoke with their representative. They showed no fear. Even when faced with our superior power, they refused to surrender. Fear is not important, Serafina said. Results are important. How long will it take to conquer their worlds? Veltara smiled confidently. 1 month at most. Their resistance will collapse quickly once they see our true power. I recommend we send the 3rd battle fleet. 500 ships should be more than enough. Zarathis shook her head. Your Majesty, I respectfully disagree. We should send a larger force. These humans have something dangerous about them. Serafina raised her hand for silence. General, you have served the Empire well for many years. But you see threats everywhere. These humans are nothing special. They are just another primitive species that thinks they are important. The Empress stood up from her throne. Everyone in the room immediately knelt down. We have conquered species far older and more advanced than the humans. The Deltari had technology we still do not fully understand. The Morganti could manipulate gravity itself. The Zenthari were psychic warriors, stronger than even our best. All of them fell before the Empire's might. She walked among the kneeling council members. These humans have been in space for less time than some of our people have been alive. They are children playing with toys. We will crush them quickly and move on to more important matters. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Helen Carter worked in her laboratory deep underground. She led humanity's emergency research program. Around her, dozens of scientists studied every piece of alien technology they could find. Most of it came from old crash sites and strange objects found in space. Colonel Nina Wells entered the lab. She was a military officer who specialized in defensive planning. She looked tired and worried. Helen, how much time do we have? Nina asked. Helen looked up from her work. She was studying a piece of metal that seemed to bend light around itself. Based on their ship movements, maybe 2 weeks before they attack. How are the preparations going? Nina sat down heavily in a chair. Not well. We are moving civilians from the outer colonies. We are converting factory ships into weapons platforms. But Helen, we are so outnumbered it is almost funny. Engineer. Samantha Brooks joined them. She had been working for 36 hours straight. Her clothes were dirty and her hands were covered in grease. I have some good news and some bad news. Give me the good news first, Helen said. We figured out how their basic shields work. We can make copies of them. Our ships will be much harder to destroy. Nina leaned forward. What is the bad news? Samantha rubbed her tired eyes. Their weapons are about 50 times more powerful than ours. Even with shields, a direct hit from one of their big ships will destroy any human vessel. Helen stood up and walked to a window. Outside, she could see people working day and night to prepare for war. Families were saying goodbye to each other. Children were being sent to safe places far from Earth. Nina, what do our military experts think our chances are? Nina was quiet for a long moment. Honestly, most of them think we will lose in days, maybe weeks if we are lucky. The aliens have been fighting wars for thousands of years. They have weapons we cannot even imagine. Samantha joined them at the window. So why are we not surrendering? Maybe being their servants would be better than being dead. Helen turned to look at both women. Because we are human. We do not give up. Even when things look impossible, we find a way. That is what we do. The first alien attack came 3 days later near Jupiter. Captain Lisa Kane commanded a small group of human ships hiding in the asteroid belt. Her orders were simple. Hit the enemy and run away. Do not try to win a direct fight. The alien ships appeared like silver ghosts. They were beautiful and terrifying. Their weapons lit up space with deadly colors. They moved through the asteroids looking for human ships to destroy. Maya, are our people in position? Lisa asked. Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez checked her screens. Yes, Captain, all ships are ready. Lisa watched the alien ships come closer. They moved in perfect formation. They acted like they expected an easy victory. Amy, send the signal. Communications specialist Amy Foster pressed a button. Suddenly, the asteroids around the alien ships exploded. But these were not normal explosions. The humans had hollowed out the asteroids and filled them with mines and missiles. The alien ships found themselves in a trap. Explosions happened all around them. Their shields protected them from most of the damage, but they were confused and angry. "Kira, what are the aliens doing?" Lisa asked. Science Officer Kira Blackwood studied her sensors. "Captain, they are trying to regroup. They did not expect this kind of attack." Lisa smiled grimly. "Good. Amy, send the retreat signal. All ships fall back to the next position." The human ships disappeared into the asteroid field like ghosts. They knew every rock and hiding place. The aliens tried to follow, but they crashed into asteroids or got lost in the maze. General Zarathis watched the battle from her command ship. She felt something she had not felt in many years: concern. The humans had not tried to fight directly. Instead, they had used tricks and traps. They fought like hunters, not like warriors. "Commander, what are our losses?" she asked. "Commander," Thesara checked her reports. "We lost 12 ships. 43 more have damage. The humans lost only 3 ships." Zarathis felt her heart sink. This was not how the battle was supposed to go. The humans should have been destroyed easily. Instead, they had hurt the Imperial fleet and escaped. "Send a message to the High Council," she ordered. "Tell them the humans are more dangerous than we thought. Request reinforcements." But back on Ethros, Empress Seraphina and her council were not worried. They thought this was just a lucky strike by desperate primitives. They did not understand that the humans were just getting started. The war had begun, and already the Empire was learning that humans did not fight the way civilized species were supposed to fight. 3 months had passed since the war began. Admiral Lyralai Moonwhisper stood in the command center of her flagship and looked at the reports with growing worry. She had been promoted to Supreme Naval Commander after Admiral Kytheron died, in what the humans called the Battle of Titan Station. The numbers on her screen did not make sense. The Empire had sent 3 full battle fleets to crush the humans. Instead of a quick victory, they found themselves fighting a war unlike anything they had ever experienced. "Commander Velsarin, give me the current loss report," Lyralai ordered. "Commander." Velsarin was young for a Vaelthera, only 300 years old. Her hands shook as she read from her data pad. "Admiral, we have lost 412 ships in the last month." "The humans have lost only 68 ships." Lyralai felt cold anger in her chest. "How is this possible? Our ships are superior in every way." Velsarin looked nervous. "Admiral, the humans do not fight like any species we have encountered before. They use tactics that our military schools never taught us." On the main screen, Lyralai watched a recording of the latest battle. Human ships had disguised themselves as space debris. When Imperial ships came close to investigate, the humans activated their engines and weapons at the same time. The surprise attack destroyed an entire squadron before they could react. "They pretend to be dead," Lyralai said with disgust. "There is no honor in such fighting." But honor was not helping the Empire win. The humans seemed to know exactly where Imperial ships would be and when. They attacked supply lines and communication stations. They never fought fair battles where superior numbers could win. On the military world of Krextar, General Zarathis studied battle recordings in her private chamber. She had commanded Imperial armies for 600 years. She had conquered 50 worlds for the Empire, but she had never faced an enemy like the humans. Her aide, Commander Thisara, entered the room. The young Kyrian officer looked exhausted. Her red scales were dull, and her forearms hung loosely at her sides. "General, the reports from the Outer Rim are not good," Thisara said. Zarathis did not look up from her screens. "Tell me." "The humans have taken control of the mining stations in the Alderaan system. They are using our own resources to build more ships. But, General, that is not the worst part." Now, Zarathis looked at her aide. "What could be worse?" Thisara handed her a data pad. "They are improving our technology. The ships they captured 3 months ago have been completely rebuilt. Their weapons are 30% more powerful than the original Imperial designs." Zarathis read the report twice. She could not believe what she was seeing. "This is impossible. It takes our best engineers years to make small improvements to our weapons. How can these primitives do it in months?" "General, I think they are." Not as primitive as we believed. Zarathis stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see Kyrian warriors training for battle. These soldiers had been bred for war. Their species had evolved to be perfect fighters. Yet they were losing to beings who had no natural weapons, no armor, and no psychic powers. "Commander, have you read the reports from the ground battles?" Thaisara nodded grimly. "Yes, General. The humans fight like demons. They use their own bodies as weapons. They sacrifice themselves to kill just one of our soldiers. They show no fear of death." Zarathis remembered her first battle against humans. Her warriors had expected to face a normal army. Instead, they found humans hiding everywhere. In buildings, underground, even in the ventilation systems. Every human civilian seemed to know how to use weapons. "They use their dead as weapons," Thaisara continued. "Their soldiers carry explosives that activate when they die. They booby-trap their own wounded. They are insane." But Zarathis was beginning to understand that the humans were not insane. They were desperate, and desperate beings could do things that civilized species would never consider. On Ethros, Dr. Velnara Crystalsong worked in her laboratory studying captured human technology. She was the Empire's leading expert on alien biology and technology. Her research had helped the Empire conquer dozens of species. But human technology was different. It was not more advanced than Imperial science. In many ways, it was simpler. But the humans built things in ways that no one else did. She picked up a human weapon and examined it carefully. The design was crude compared to Imperial energy weapons. But it was also reliable, easy to repair, and deadly effective. The humans did not make things beautiful. They made things that worked. Her assistant, Dr. Keelthara, brought her the latest test results. "Doctor, the human genetic samples show something very unusual." Velnara looked at the data. "What am I looking at?" "Their DNA is incredibly adaptable. Most species have genetic patterns that change very slowly over thousands of generations. Human genetics seem to be designed for rapid adaptation." Velnara studied the information more carefully. "You mean they evolve quickly?" "Not just physically. Their brains seem to be built for learning new things very fast." "Doctor, I think this is why they can improve our technology so quickly. Their minds work differently than ours." This news troubled Velnara deeply. The Empire had always won through superior technology and organization. If the humans could learn and adapt faster than Imperial scientists could develop new weapons, the war could last much longer than anyone expected. She activated her communication system and sent a message to the High Council. "Your Majesty, I believe we have seriously underestimated the human threat. I recommend we consider negotiating a peace treaty before this war gets worse." But Empress Seraphina was not interested in peace. She was angry that primitive apes were embarrassing her ancient empire. She ordered more fleets to be sent to human space. On Earth, the war effort had transformed human civilization. Dr. Helen Carter now led a research program that included captured alien scientists. Some members of other species had been horrified by Imperial treatment of conquered worlds. They volunteered to help humanity in exchange for protection. Colonel Nina Wells had been promoted to general. She now commanded all human military forces. Her strategy was simple: never fight fair, never give the enemy what they expect, and always learn from every battle. Engineer Samantha Brooks ran the largest military production program in human history. Factories that once made cars and computers now produced warships and weapons. But these were not copies of human designs. They were hybrid ships that combined human engineering with captured alien technology. Captain Lisa Kane stood on the bridge of her new ship, the UES Retribution. It looked like no human vessel that had ever been built. The hull was covered with Imperial shield generators. The weapons were Kyrian energy cannons powered by human fusion reactors. The engines used Valthera gravity manipulation technology. "Maya, what is our mission status?" Lisa asked. Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Captain, intelligence has located a major Imperial supply depot. It is lightly defended because they think we cannot reach it." "How wrong they are," Science Officer Kira Blackwood added. She had learned to speak 3 alien languages and could operate captured Imperial equipment better than some aliens. Communications specialist Amy Foster monitored enemy transmissions. "Captain, The aliens are starting to recall their outer patrol fleets. They are concentrating their forces closer to their homeworlds. Lisa nodded. This was exactly what Human Command wanted. When the enemy grouped their forces together, it was easier to predict where they would be. Amy, send a message to all human fleets. Operation Thunderstorm begins in 6 hours. The humans were about to launch their largest attack yet. But this time, they were not just trying to survive, they were trying to win. Admiral Lyrelay Moonwhisper received reports of human attacks on 17 Imperial bases at the same time. The attacks were coordinated across thousands of light-years of space. The precision was impossible to explain. How did they know where all our bases were? She asked her staff. No one had an answer. But the truth was that humans had been watching and learning for months. They had captured Imperial communication codes. They had interrogated prisoners. They had turned some aliens into spies. The Empire was beginning to realize that they were not fighting primitive apes. They were fighting a species that learned from every mistake and turned every weakness into strength. The war was far from over, but the balance was starting to shift. 1 year after the war began, Empress Seraphina Starweaver stood in her private chambers looking at a map of the galaxy. Red lights showed worlds under Imperial control. Blue lights showed human territory. A year ago, there had been only one small blue dot representing Earth. Now blue lights covered nearly half the map. Her advisor, Minister Veltara Nightblade, entered the room quietly. The ancient strategist looked older than her 800 years. Dark circles surrounded her eyes, and her silver hair had lost its shine. "Your Majesty, the latest reports from the front lines," Veltara said, offering a data pad. Seraphina took the pad, but did not look at it immediately. "Tell me the summary. How bad is it?" Veltara hesitated. In 8 centuries of service, she had never had to deliver such terrible news. "We have lost 60% of our military fleet. The humans now control 400 Imperial worlds. They have captured or destroyed 7 of our major shipyards." Seraphina finally looked at the data pad. The numbers were worse than she had imagined. "How many of our own people have joined them?" "Nearly 1 million Imperial citizens now fight for the humans. They say human rule is better than Imperial rule." This was the most painful news of all. The Empire had always maintained control through fear and strict discipline. But humans offered something different. They treated captured aliens better than the Empire treated its own citizens. Seraphina walked to her window and looked out at the great city below. For 3,000 years, Ethros had been the center of galactic civilization. Now human ships appeared in the system every few days, striking at targets and disappearing before Imperial forces could respond. "Where is Admiral Moonwhisper now?" the Empress asked. "Leading the defense of the Nexus Station. The humans are planning a major attack there." Commander Lyrelay Moonwhisper stood on the bridge of her flagship and watched human ships approach the Nexus Station. The station was the Empire's most important military base. It controlled communication and supply lines for the entire Imperial fleet. A year of fighting humans had changed Lyrelay. She no longer believed in easy victories or superior technology. She had learned to respect and fear the adaptability of human warriors. "All ships, prepare for battle," she ordered. "Remember, these humans do not fight like civilized beings. Expect anything." The Nexus Station was protected by 300 Imperial warships and massive defensive weapons. It should have been impossible for any enemy to capture, but Lyrelay had seen humans do impossible things before. Human ships appeared on the sensors in perfect formation, but Lyrelay knew this was probably a trick. Humans never did anything simple if they could do something clever instead. "Commander Velsarin, scan for cloaked ships." "Already scanning, Admiral. I detect at least 50 more human vessels hiding behind asteroids and debris." The battle began with the humans doing exactly what Lyrelay expected. They attacked in 3 waves, using standard military tactics. Imperial ships responded according to their training, moving to intercept and destroy the attackers. But then the humans did something no one expected. The attacking ships suddenly broke apart into smaller vessels. What looked like 100 large ships was actually 300 small fighters, each one carrying powerful weapons. The small human ships swarmed through the Imperial formation like angry insects. They were too small and fast for the big Imperial. weapons to target effectively, but their own weapons could damage and destroy Imperial warships. All ships, switch to anti-fighter weapons, Lyreley ordered. But as soon as the Imperial ships changed their weapon configurations, the real attack began. Admiral Rebecca Stone emerged from hyperspace with 200 heavy human warships. These ships used captured Imperial technology, but improved in ways that made them more powerful than the original designs. Lyreley watched in horror as her carefully planned defense collapsed in minutes. The human fighters had not been trying to win the battle. They had been forcing the Imperial fleet to prepare for the wrong kind of fight. "Admiral, the station's shields are failing," Commander Velsarin reported. On the station itself, General Patricia Hayes led human ground forces in the assault. Patricia had once been a simple infantry soldier. Now she commanded thousands of troops from multiple species. Human soldiers did not fight alone anymore. They fought alongside Kyrian warriors, who had abandoned the Empire. They fought with Valthara psychics, who had learned that humans treated them with more respect than their own people did. The battle for Nexus Station lasted only 4 hours. When it ended, the Empire's most important military base was under human control. Lyreley barely escaped with a quarter of her fleet. On the Kyrian homeworld of Krextar, General Zarathis received the news of Nexus Station's fall with grim acceptance. She had been fighting humans long enough to understand what this meant. Her aide, Commander Thysaara, found her in the war room studying tactical displays. "General, the High Council is demanding an explanation for our failures." Zarathis laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. "What explanation can I give? That we are fighting an enemy who learns faster than we can adapt, that they turn our own weapons against us, that they treat their prisoners better than we treat our own soldiers." Thysaara sat down across from her general. "Zarathis, may I speak freely?" The general nodded. "Of course. I think we are going to lose this war. The humans are not just defeating us in battle, they are replacing us. Every world they capture becomes stronger and more productive than it was under Imperial rule." Zarathis had reached the same conclusion weeks ago. The humans did not just conquer territory, they improved it. They built better factories, trained better soldiers, and created better technology. "The worst part is that they are right," Zarathis said quietly. "The Empire has grown weak and corrupt over the centuries. We ruled through fear because we forgot how to rule through competence." Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos led human special operations forces deep into Imperial territory. Her mission was to capture or destroy Imperial research facilities. But she had discovered something more valuable than weapons or technology. She had found Imperial citizens who wanted to join the human cause, not because they were forced to, but because they believed humans offered a better future. Maria stood in the ruins of an Imperial laboratory on the planet Valdris. Around her, alien scientists worked to decode Imperial research data. These scientists had volunteered to help humanity, even though it meant betraying their own government. "Colonel Santos, we have found something important," Dr. Velnara Crystalsong said. The former Imperial scientist now worked for human intelligence. "What is it, Doctor?" Velnara handed her a data crystal. "The complete technical specifications for Imperial faster-than-light communication. With this, human forces will be able to coordinate across the entire galaxy." This was exactly what humanity needed. Imperial forces had always been able to respond quickly to threats because of their superior communication technology. Now humans would have the same advantage. Engineer Samantha Brooks received the communication data at her research facility on Earth. Within days, she had not only copied the Imperial system but improved it. Human ships could now coordinate there. Attacks with precision that amazed even their alien allies. Dr. Helen Carter, now Director of Xenobiological Integration, oversaw programs that helped alien refugees adapt to human society. To her surprise, many aliens preferred human rule to Imperial control. "The Empire treats its citizens like property," explained Kylthera, a young Vilthera scientist who had defected to humanity. "Humans treat us like people who happen to be different." This was becoming the Empire's greatest weakness. The more aliens learned about human society, the more they wanted to join it. Human fleets grew larger, not just because of captured ships, but because alien crews volunteered to serve. Admiral Lisa Kane now commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. Her ships were hybrids of human engineering and alien technology. Her crews included humans, Veilthera, Kyrians, and dozens of other species. Maya, what is our target? Lisa asked her old friend and second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez, now promoted to Admiral herself, smiled. The Imperial Capital System, Lisa. High Command thinks it is time to end this war. Science Officer Kira Blackwood, now Chief Technology Officer, added, Our intelligence suggests the Empire is planning one final massive attack. If we strike their capital first, we can prevent them from organizing their remaining forces. Communications Specialist Amy Foster, now Director of Intelligence, had more news. Captain, we have received surrender offers from 12 Imperial governors. They want to join the Terran Commonwealth before we attack their worlds. Lisa looked at the map showing the current state of the war. Blue lights representing human territory now covered most of the galaxy. The Empire controlled only its core worlds and a few heavily defended systems. Send messages to all human fleets, Lisa ordered. Operation Final Storm begins in 72 hours. Target, Ethros itself. On Ethros, Empress Seraphina received reports of the approaching human fleet with calm resignation. She had finally accepted what her advisors had been telling her for months. The Empire was finished. Minister Veltara Nightblade made one last, desperate suggestion. Your Majesty, we could negotiate. The humans have shown mercy to those who surrender, peacefully. Seraphina considered this option, but she was too proud to surrender. She had ruled for 2,000 years. She would not spend her final days as a prisoner of primitive apes. Prepare the Imperial Guard for one final battle, she ordered. If the Empire must fall, it will fall with honor. But honor would not be enough to stop the human fleet that was already approaching the heart of the galaxy. 2 years after the first contact with the Zephyrian Empire, Admiral Lisa Kane stood on the bridge of the UES Dominion and looked at the planet Ethros through the main screen. The beautiful crystal cities still glowed with their ancient light, but Imperial ships no longer protected them. The final battle had lasted only 6 hours. The Imperial Guard had fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 10-1. More importantly, half of the Imperial fleet had surrendered before the fighting even began. Maya, what is the status of the surrender negotiations? Lisa asked. Admiral Maya Rodriguez checked her reports. Former Admiral Lirelei Moonwhisper is serving as liaison between the Imperial government and our forces. She has been very helpful in organizing the peaceful transfer of power. Lisa nodded. Lirelei had surprised everyone by adapting quickly to defeat. Instead of fighting uselessly, she had chosen to help her people transition to the new reality. And General Zarathus? She is commanding mixed units of Kyrian and human soldiers. Her warriors seem to prefer serving under human leadership. They say we are more honest about the costs of war. Science Officer Kira Blackwood, now promoted to Director of Technology Integration, approached with a data pad. Admiral, we have completed the integration of the Imperial Communication Network. All former Imperial worlds are now part of the Terran Commonwealth. Communications Director Amy Foster added, We are receiving surrender requests from the last few holdout systems. Most Imperial citizens seem relieved that the war is over. Lisa walked to the window and looked down at Ethros. In a few hours, she would accept the formal surrender of Empress Seraphina Starweaver. The ceremony would mark the end of the oldest empire in galactic history. Dr. Helen Carter joined the group on the bridge. As Secretary of Xenobiological Affairs, she now oversaw the integration of dozens of alien species into human society. Helen, how are the integration programs working? Lisa asked. Helen smiled. Better than we hoped. Most alien species prefer our approach to governance. We treat everyone as citizens rather than subjects. Former Imperial worlds are actually more productive now than they were under Empire rule. This was the most remarkable aspect of the human victory. They had not just conquered the Empire, they had improved it. Human administration was more efficient, more fair, and more innovative than Imperial bureaucracy. Engineer Samantha Brooks, now Minister of Industrial Development, reported similar success. Admiral, our hybrid technology programs are exceeding all expectations. Ships built with combined human and alien technology are superior to anything either side could build alone. The door to the bridge opened, and former Empress Seraphina Starweaver entered, escorted by human guards. She wore simple clothes instead of her royal robes. Her hands were not bound. but everyone knew she was a prisoner. Serafina looked around the bridge with curiosity rather than hatred. So this is how humans build their ships, functional rather than beautiful. Lisa turned to face the former ruler of the galaxy. Your Majesty, are you ready to sign the surrender documents? Serafina nodded slowly. I am. But first, I want to understand something. Why do you treat your prisoners better than the Empire treated its own citizens? Lisa considered the question carefully. Because we believe that how you treat defeated enemies shows what kind of people you really are. We did not fight this war because we hate aliens. We fought because we refuse to be slaves. And now that you have won, what will you do with your power? Admiral Maya Rodriguez answered. We will do what humans have always done. We will try to build something better than what came before. The surrender ceremony took place in the Great Hall where Serafina had once ruled the galaxy. Representatives from hundreds of worlds attended. Most of them were former Imperial citizens who now served the Terran Commonwealth. Dr. Velnara Crystalsong, now Director of Scientific Research, stood with other former Imperial officials who had joined the human government. They had discovered that humans valued competence more than loyalty. General Zarathus commanded the honor guard for the ceremony. Hercurian warriors stood alongside human soldiers and alien volunteers. The mixed units had proven more effective than single-species forces. Ambassador Liralai Moonwhisper served as translator and diplomatic advisor. She had learned to respect human leadership methods. They made decisions based on facts rather than tradition. Lisa stood at the center of the hall and addressed the assembled representatives. Today marks the end of the Zephyrian Empire and the beginning of the Terran Commonwealth. We offer membership to all species who wish to join us freely. Serafina signed the surrender documents with a pen made of crystal. As she set down the pen, 3,000 years of imperial rule came to an end. The Empire lasted longer than any other government in galactic history, Serafina said. How long do you think your Commonwealth will last? Lisa considered the question. I do not know. But I know we will try to make it last by serving the people rather than ruling them. Dr. Helen Carter stepped forward with the Commonwealth membership charter. Your Majesty, despite everything that has happened, humanity offers you a place in our government. Your experience and knowledge would be valuable. Serafina looked surprised. You would trust me with power after I tried to destroy your species? We would trust you with responsibility, Helen corrected. Power belongs to the people. Leaders are just servants who help organize society. This was a completely foreign concept to Serafina, but she was beginning to understand why the Empire had lost. Humans had motivated followers while the Empire had only fearful subjects. 6 months later, Admiral Patricia Hayes stood on the bridge of the UES New Earth, humanity's newest and most advanced ship. She looked out at a galaxy that had been completely transformed. Human colonies spread across former imperial worlds, but they were not conquest colonies. They were partnership settlements where humans and aliens worked together to build better societies. The Terran Commonwealth included over 1,500 worlds and dozens of species. Each world had representation in the Commonwealth government. Decisions were made by voting rather than royal decree. Dr. Samantha Brooks reported from her engineering station. Admiral, the new shipyards are producing vessels that combine the best technology from 8 different species. Our exploration fleets are making contact with civilizations beyond the old imperial borders. Communications Director Amy Foster monitored transmissions from across the galaxy. Admiral, we are receiving first contact requests from the Andromedans. They want to establish trade relations with the Commonwealth. Science Director Kira Blackwood studied long-range sensor data. Admiral, our deep space probes have detected signs of intelligent life in several neighboring galaxies. The universe is much larger and more diverse than we imagined. Patricia smiled as she looked at the data. Humanity had started this war as a single species fighting for survival. Now they led a galactic civilization that was expanding into the wider universe. General Lisa Kane, now Supreme Commander of Commonwealth Forces, joined Patricia on the bridge. Any regrets about how things turned out? Patricia thought about the question. I regret that so many people died in the war. I regret that the Empire chose violence over cooperation, but I do not regret fighting for our freedom. The galaxy is certainly different now, Lisa observed. Patricia nodded. Better, I think. Instead of one species ruling over all others, we have a government where everyone has a voice. Former Empress Serafina, now serving as Commonwealth Cultural Advisor, had adapted to her new role with surprising grace. She worked to preserve the best aspects of imperial culture while helping alien species integrate into Commonwealth society. "You humans are strange," she told Dr. Helen Carter during one of their regular meetings. "You won the greatest war in galactic history, but you act like you lost." Helen laughed. "We do not celebrate war, even when we win. We celebrate peace and the chance to build something better." The Empire celebrated conquest and domination. That is why it became weak and corrupt over time. Serafina was beginning to understand this. The Empire had focused on controlling others rather than improving itself. Humans focused on adaptation and cooperation, which made them stronger over time. In the end, the war had taught the galaxy an important lesson. Species that worked together could accomplish more than any single group, no matter how powerful. The Terran Commonwealth was not perfect. There were still disagreements and conflicts between different worlds and species. But these problems were solved through negotiation and compromise rather than force. Admiral Lisa Kane issued the Commonwealth's first official message to the wider universe. "The Terran Commonwealth extends friendship to all intelligent species. We seek cooperation, trade, and mutual understanding. However, we also extend this warning. Any species that chooses conquest over cooperation will face the same fate as the Zephyrian Empire. We tried to warn the Empire that humans do not make good slaves. They chose war instead of peace. The choice they made determined their fate. The choice you make will determine yours." The message was transmitted to every known civilization in the local galactic group. Most species chose friendship. A few chose neutrality. None chose war. Humanity had learned an important truth during their fight for survival. The strongest species was not the one with the best weapons or the most ships. The strongest species was the one that could adapt, learn, and bring others together for common goals. The galaxy was now ruled by cooperation rather than fear. And for the first time in thousands of years, the future looked brighter than the past.